So you're here because you want to know if 5G compared to 4G really matters. What's up? I'm Mr. Noble, and thanks for joining Mr. Noble TV. So if you're ready, let's jump right into this video. Okay, so in this video I will explain the difference in speed on iPhones, what they list on the following. 5G Auto, which uses 5G only, when needed for performance while optimizing battery life. Now on 5G on, it uses 5G whenever it is available, or even when it may reduce battery life or performance. Now 5G standalone. 5G standalone uses 5G for all cellular activities, including cellular network connections. So, saying that to say all this, it's needed for performance while optimizing battery life. This means it can switch from LTE to 5G when it is not available or when it is providing a significant improvement in speed. 5G on uses 5G whenever it is available, even when it may reduce battery life or performance, like I just said a few seconds ago. This means it will always get the fastest possible speeds, even when it means using more battery power. Now LTE, the previous generation of cellular technology, and its theoretical peak speed of 1 gigabyte per second. However, real world speeds are typically much slower, ranging from 10 to 100 megabits per second. 5G standalone is a new type of 5G network that Apple presented and gave to us that is not yet widely available to other countries, only pretty much in the United States. It's still kind of rolling out eventually from country to country, from city to city. And it uses 5G for all cellular activity, not on LTE, including network connections. This means it could potentially offer even faster speeds than 5G auto or just 5G on. So in terms of the real world, you can expect to see the following results. 5G auto, 50 megs to 1 gigabyte, making it limited battery drain, but normal speed and performance. 5G on, 100 megabits per second down to 10 megabits per second, depending on how you use your phone. And it's more than the usual battery drain that we get with our 5G auto, but has way more speed and performance. Now LTE, been around for a long time, 10 megabits to 100 megabits with normal battery drain, but more speed and performance. When, depending on the day, the time of the day, depending on the tower, depending on what tower is connected to at the time, because if you reboot your phone, it winds up connecting to a closer tower or connects to a tower that the other one is not failing. And it also depends on the congestion during the day at peak hours when a lot of people are on their smart devices, cell phones, iPads, pretty much anything like that. LTE is more reliable too, because it's easier to, if you notice, or if you don't notice, it's easier for LTE to get through walls, get through trees, and building obstructions and stuff like that, and metal. And 5G has to be in a direct line of the tower in order for it to work. If you got just a tree of obstruction in the way, then it's a possibility you're going to lose that connection, and you're going to wind up with LTE until 5G is available again. But I found that the problem with the iPhones and Androids, that 5G is not, 5G is out, but it's not out, if you understand what I'm saying. 5G is still not available everywhere, and it's still limited. Yeah, it works if you're, like I said, you're in eyesight of the tower. It works great. You get quick speed, fast speed. If you're in the middle of somewhere that has no trees, no buildings, no obstructions, yeah, you're going to get blazing fast speeds with 5G. But put in obstructions in the line of that tower and your cell phone device, or your device that you're using to get that connection for uploads or downloads, then you're going to be in trouble. It's not going to give you what you want. So I find myself, if I'm at home, I'm inside of a building, I got trees on the side of my house, I find that if I keep mine on LTE, even though I'm paying for a 5G phone, I bought a 5G, I got a bunch of 5G phones, I find that LTE is more reliable to me. So sometimes I wind up using hotspot from another device, or I'm running cellular and Wi-Fi at the same time, which I shouldn't have to do. But I still feel like these cell phone cellular companies, they are still throttling our speeds and are slowing it, even though we're paying for the highest tier for your data plan that you could possibly, the highest one you could possibly get with the 4G unlimited everything, you know what I'm saying? It's still throttled at sometimes. Like sometimes my LTE versus the 5G, the LTE runs way smoother. Now I'll do 5G if I want to hurry up and download a game right quick, or I'm in the middle of if I don't want to lose connection, especially if I'm doing something important, I definitely don't want to use 5G unless I'm sitting in front of the tower, like I said earlier. So LTE is the way to go. I would advise anybody that's watching this, especially you, if you're watching this, if there's something important that you have to do, use LTE. First you want to do is do a speed test and check to make sure that that speed is where you want it to be for your upload and download, depending on what you're doing, if you're uploading or if you're downloading, and then go from there. All right, enough with the rambling. I'm gonna get back on with the video. Let's get it going. So 5G standalone with no 4G LTE, but when toggled off, using 5G, it auto switches to LTE. 5G to LTE when toggled off, as needed for whatever network is available at the time. Whatever one's quicker, whatever one's working better than the other one, it's gonna switch to that one. I have a tendency to, there's a toggle in iPhones that you may want to turn on. So when it's in settings, So it's under cellular. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there is a button called, a toggle called Wi-Fi Assist. So it basically automatically uses cellular data when the connectivity is poor. So that means Wi-Fi Assist, the Wi-Fi will still be there, but it will use cellular data to maybe sometimes you get that pop-up that says, do you want to use cellular data instead of Wi-Fi? You say yes because your Wi-Fi might be slow at the time. So I have a habit of using Wi-Fi and cellular data at the same time, depending on what I'm doing. All right, so it's important to note that these are just averages, and your actual speed will vary depending on a number of factors, such as network coverage, the number of users on the network, and also the type of device that you're using. Whether it's an iPhone, whether it's an Android, no matter what device you're using, you're still going to run into these kind of issues. Now, the settings on iPhone is a little bit different than the settings on Android, but they're just worded different. They pretty much have the same thing, except for the 5G standalone. Android uses a different version of that. You know what those toggles are. So in general, 5G auto is a good option for most of us, and it will provide you with good speeds while optimizing battery life. So if you need absolute fast speed, even if it means using more battery power, then you could use 5G on. If you're not really worried about battery, you're at home, you got access to a charger right quick, you can be using your charger while it's on the phone. Yes, you can do that with iPhones now. Back a while, long time ago, you wouldn't be able to do that because then your phone will overheat or it will cause damage. But nowadays, with the way Apple is making these chargers, you can actually still use your phone while it's on a charger. But depending on if it's a game, or something that uses a lot of processing power, then I would advise you to take it off the charger. Especially if you're using it and you start feeling the back of it get hot, I would unplug it or give it some time to charge and then go back to doing what you was doing. Now, 5G on. Now 5G is still in the early stages of development, but it still promises to offer even faster speeds than 5G auto or 5G on when it's toggled on. It helps with the 5G speeds. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!